As the festive season gets underway, South Africans, fair to say, will be posting from beaches, braais and holiday parties, but experts are warning one reckless post could cost you your job in January. A recent court case confirming that off-duty racist comments on social media can lead to dismissal, even if they are made on leave. Jonathan Goldberg from Global Business Solutions, he's been on our program before, joins me now to explain how far employers can go, where the legal lines are, and what workers need to know before they hit post. Jonathan, a very warm welcome. Nice to talk to you again. Can someone really be fired from a post made on holiday outside working hours?
Good day to you all. Yes, the law has been quite clear in that in respect of the court cases since 2019, where a EDCON employee posted late one night watching the news that the government were monkeys running this country. And clearly the monkey post came from the penny sparrow issue in Durban, and that person was fired because members of the public took umbrage about that, and that person was dismissed. The CCMA arbitrator did not agree that the dismissal was appropriate. The Labour Court confirmed dismissal being appropriate. So, again, I think we know that we shouldn't do these posts. The posts go further. You know, the new Employment Equity Act talks about harassment. So anything that's sexist, demeaning, that you do post and you say, well, I am the chairman of Global Business Solutions, or I work for EDCON, or I work for whoever, that's a problem. So people need to understand that. I think employers also need to do more and more to educate people that they shouldn't, after a couple of drinks or after smoking something, we're allowed to smoke now at our own homes, our private dwellings, that they shouldn't be posting these issues, and to think very carefully about what they post and how people would react to that. I think that's very important to try get people to understand the consequences so you can prevent as much of this as possible.
Where exactly is the legal line, or has that legal line changed, Jonathan, between free speech and hate speech in the workplace?
I don't think the legal line is there anymore. I think if you do work for an organization that's got a value system, I think that value system goes with you even to the household braai. And I think that's what people don't understand. They say, well, we're anti-racist at work, but around the braai we're racist. If that's picked up or recorded, as we see today, I think you're in big trouble. And I think we need to educate people that we can't have these statements that we are free of discrimination, racism at the workplace, only to find that after a couple of beers, then you sort of change character. I think that line is becoming more and more unblurred. In other words, there's one continuum. You work for this organization, you carry its values. And you think about, Jeremy, you've done a lot of work on branding, how much money these organizations spend on branding their reputation. And again, one post goes viral, and that's that brand damaged. And again, it affects sales directly.
So let's talk about that then. If a post does go viral, how quickly must an employer act to avoid any kind of reputational damage? Sooner rather than later, obviously.
Yes, and we also see in many organizations in South Africa, parastatals, government, and even private enterprise, they're just too slow to act. And again, I think for me, it starts with education of people, education of employees at all levels to understand the implications of doing this, and then effectively to say, because it ties back to the values. It's interesting, Jeremy, what's been happening a lot in the social media, specifically after the Coldplay Cam, is this issue around senior executives having affairs at work with the people that work with them too. And we've seen a number of senior dismissals where the standard higher up is even more. You expected the higher up you go in the organization to even have a higher standard of degree of care to that organization.
Are companies themselves liable if an inflammatory post is linked to them, either through tagging or profile information?
So not unless they don't take action. So again, I think the vicarious liability clause comes in Section 60 of the Employment Equity Act. I think if you take action, you can't be liable at all unless the person's acting on behalf of the company, and generally that's not the case. But it's the brand and damage to the sales and reputation of those organizations that we're going to keep. And again, living the value system. We can't be having these value and these wonderful statements in the workplace and not living them. I think that's the contradiction, that we move into era where people are saying, well, does this organization really stand for this?
Just in terms of employees, let's assume they've done it. What rights would they then have to defend themselves before any disciplinary action, I guess, when they return to work in January?
Yes, so the current law is for big businesses. The Code of Good Practice has now been amended. It's simpler for smaller businesses, but for big companies would be you charge a person that have a full disciplinary inquiry. And proper disciplinary inquiry doesn't have to last for days and days. It's a simple charge. You posted this, your own staff members have complained, your fellow employees have complained, or members of the public. You've got a copy of the post. Did you know about it? It's a quick inquiry, really. Take 2 or 3 hours, and the outcome of that would be then potentially the person's guilty. The appropriate penalty would be, in most cases, dismissal, and the person would have the right to refer the matter to the CCMA or bargaining council that has jurisdiction.
Just a final one, Jonathan. As far as employers are concerned and the monitoring of social media, obviously they would be tracking accounts. Are there rules around that, and how actively should they be doing it?
I think there are rules around that, so I think that's personal information. But again, it doesn't become personal information when you've got 5,000 Facebook followers and you've called your own employees, the people that work with you, the members of the public who support that organization. So that's where it goes. That's where it goes pear-shaped. And often it's not about at all about the company having to track it. Employees and members of the public track these things and react to them quite quickly.
Jonathan Goldberg, as always, thanks for the insight from Global Business Solutions. I appreciate your time.